What's up, Rockstars? Today I have Masters of the Universe Battlegrounds I get to unbox. I'm super excited. This is by Archon Studio. It's the 2-player starter set. So you got the bad guys, you got the good guys, you got a whole bunch of terrain, you got a skirmish game in here with items and equipment and all sorts of fun stuff. I'm really looking forward to diving right in. Thank you to my channel sponsor Into the AM. As a company that believes hard work and a great product is a proper way to conduct business, I am delighted to have them as part of the channel. They have some of the coolest graphic t-shirts around and an absolute best fit and feel that has continually exceeded my expectations. With new shirts arriving all the time and other products like boxers, hats, and even a monthly shirt club, I wholeheartedly recommend them to you. Check out the link in my description of this video for an exclusive 10% off everything they sell. Alright, so here we have Masters of the Universe Battleground. I'm excited for this, I really am. I played their Fields of Eternia board game with these minis, just the minis here, the actual people, not the terrain. All the terrain's new and stuff like that, but and I was really enjoyed it. It was quite nice, but the minis were nice too. But at heart, you guys know me, I always love a good skirmish game. So I'm excited to try that. This is a big box. Like this, I'm really impressed with the size of this box. But I think it's great that they took the minis and were like, you know what, we can make more games with this. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's cool that they did that. I believe they're already coming out with more. They're coming out with more units and stuff like that, so that's super cool. Excited to see that. I guess let's flip to the back real quick. It is a little bit of damage here, but it was shipped to me differently than you normally would. And in fact, you know, I wouldn't get this to America at all, because this is EU only, made in Poland. That's super cool to see. Oh, does that mean that they even made all the tokens in there? Normally they put the tokens over to E-Star in China, so it'll be interesting to see if they did this all EU. I think they may have done that if they got the made in Poland thing here. That'll be interesting to see. That was kind of a weak point for them before, was their like cardboard tokens. Everything else that was actually quite nice. So let's see, what do we got here? This is just a fancy, yep, it's just a fancy little tray there for you, little poster. That's all that is. And we got the minis again, and you do have to build them here. I do love the different colors though. That's kind of cool to see. So you got two little factions here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these. It looks like this is 4 different characters really, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, because yeah, this is nice. So the base is actually fairly small, but very nice. So again, we got like, you know, the technical, we got like, see the little skull there, we got like plain almost city, we also got like a foresty kind of one. Then I don't even know what you would consider this one. It's kind of interesting to see it like that. It's because of the rock outcropping. There we go. So in the kind of the desert area there. And then again, here's He-Man shouting, gonna be raising his sword, right? That would just go on top of each other like that. So there's the front of him right there. I don't know where his sword is. The sword must be somewhere. Oh, right there. There's the sword. Yeah, very cool. Okay. And then for the bad guys, we got these as well. And I will say that I think their bases are a little bit more sinister, right? A little more hard-edged cracks and stuff like that, which are kind of cool. Notice that there is a little difference here too, right? There's some kind of facing, right? Do you see this? So there's a little lip here with a little arrow on all of them. That's kind of interesting to see. And you can see that here in the art as well. See, same thing. And that's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming it's to denote facing. Kind of nice that it's built into the base like that. Okay, and we got a ton of terrain. Oh, this is thick. Oh, this is heavy. This is where all the weight was. My goodness. Okay, so we got some small scatter terrain here, and then we got the bigger walls. And I must say, I love the variety here. So there's like vines growing on this one. And then we have just a plain normal ones here. So like these angled pillars. We got a broken ones here. We have ones with these like swords being, you know, glorified here almost. And we got the scatter terrain on top of that. And that's cool to see. And the scatter terrain, we got more too. So we got some here. Look at that big old axe laying there in the skull. This has a little pillar, more skulls and bones and stuff like that. A big old face here. Oh man, that's a sweet like coat of arms there. We got the technical parts in this one. That's really nice to see all the different variety there. That's cool. I dig that. That looks great. Again, both sides. Oh man, look at that little like tapestry hanging there. That's gonna look great. Oh man, I want to paint all this. This is nice. This is the same as the one I just showed you. And this is the same as the first one. So we got 2 copies of each by the looks of it, because then we have 2 of these as well. So here's kind of a regular area here. I wonder why this is 3D print. It looks like it fits into something, but I don't know what per se. We got the like little ladder here. Again, we got some pillars, some little tiny half walls, some broken ones here. Look at the like handcuff chain things going on there. Looks great. Very interesting. And again, I don't know what these pegs are for. I wish I did, but I don't. All right, and then what do we have here? So this is to protect it. That's why that's there. So even then, oh, is that clear? That's kind of interesting. What's going on there? I don't know. Oh man. All right. So then we got more and more and more and more. Let's look at some cardboard tokens. All right. There we are. Oh, there it is. It did fall out. I was wondering. I was like, why is this clear? That seems weird. It's because it fell out. Probably got punched out. You saw that kind of dent there, and it was just enough to kind of cause that. This is a thicker cardboard than I was expecting. So if this was actually all made in Poland, that's actually quite nice. I was thinking it was going to be like their Chronicle X stuff, where it was actually kind of skinny, because after that they decided to start getting a lot of it done in China, but I'm wondering if they decided, hey, we can actually do this all in Poland still. We can improve and do that really, really nice and not have to deal with the whole China thing, because China, you know, you got to fit in with everybody else. You got to ship it. It's got to cross all the border. There's, you know, a language gap barrier typically. There's all sorts of stuff you got to deal with. And so imagine they find it very much more simple to just make it in Poland. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual experience of punching these out. It looks like, oh my gosh, they actually punch out fairly nice. So let's see. Oh man, yeah, they don't even hang. Also, oh, there's one hang. Okay, so I can get some hangers on that. Okay. I saw there was one guy that's just like, and you're like, oh my gosh, that monster. Who does that? Who does that? My wife told me about it. I'm like, oh man. Okay, well, I'm not going to pop all of them off here. All right, let's take a look at them. Okay. First of all, can I say I like the colors? They're like fairly bright. These are probably the closest together, but they're still plenty different. So I do appreciate that. I think it looks great. I like the black on them. The black looks good on that because, again, they're all brighter. I love the gradient here. It's darker here, lighter here. It's a nice big old visible number. Double-sided, so that's good. There is a little bit of kind of like a wrinkle, I think, where it was pressed in there. And a tiny little tag. And you can see the cardboard versus the top. But it feels extra smooth. It's slightly pushy, but honestly not that bad. And yeah, I mean, these are actually fine. I'm okay with these. If they can do this, that's awesome. That's really good, and people should take note. Okay, so here is kind of a tracker of some kind there. It's curved on the top. It's a little reflective, right, as you can see. But what I'm curious about, because I kind of already see it, is there any flaking? Not really. A tiny bit, you can kind of see it. It's actually holding up quite well. There's a little bit of fraying, but overall, now this side is worse. Do you see all that white that's there now? And you can kind of do this to kind of scrape it off. You get that little white line now. And it looks like, for whatever reason, this side's a lot rougher with that. I'm not sure why. So yeah, just be conscious. Oh, maybe because it was just the end of it. I don't know, because it's not like in the end. So I don't know why I did that. Okay, but we got more tokens here for the other player, and then we got the game board. Let's go and see if we can actually splay that out. Let's try that. I want to see it. Let's make it happen. All right. nothing else, I'll point out the art. We'll take a good look at it. It'll be fine. Okay, move that box here. Let's see what we can do. Okay, well, it's a big board. It's longer, which is kind of interesting, as opposed to like, you know, I mean, I guess you can put it the other way. Either way, it's not like a square or anything like that. I think it actually wanted to be kind of like this. I think how they want it. So let me move this to the side a little bit. There we go. To the side. There we are. Okay. I think that's kind of how they want it because of the numbers. So we have A down here. A being down here is kind of odd to me, though there is an A up here, but then it's on the right-hand side, which is also kind of odd. Normally, I think of A as being top left, right? A1 would be here, A2 would be here, A3 would be here. And it's weird that it's like reversed on either side, so I don't really know what to do there. This is the like side where they printed the copyright face up. So I'm going to assume this is kind of the right side, but it is a little odd there. It looks like they already have deployment zones and stuff ready. And the reason I say this is because, notice, in the middle is all this white, right? And then on the back side and on the sides are this kind of darkened black area. Then you have this strip here of lighter ones, and I'm assuming that is the starting area. So you can't start all the way back, but you can't start forward there. And then they do have the center one marked different as well. And I just really appreciate little touches like that. I think that's super cool. The art style is very kind of, you know, hand-drawn, kind of textured a little bit. You can kind of see the almost the brush there. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit and just move the board to where it is. But I mean, you can kind of see that. And then right here, you can kind of see that little brush effect, right? It's almost like a texturing effect, like somebody drew it with a Microsoft paintbrush. And when there's like, it has like the spray, right? Love the subtle colors here. There's a little bit of green hue in here, right? It's kind of nice. And I see that right here, all throughout here, actually, there's a little bit of green. And I can see that on the other side as well. Which is super cool. There's some bigger stuff still, especially on the sides, like this right here, this kind of cliff. And I think they did this really well. I love the shadow. So you can kind of see the little shadow that it casts right here. And same with this. So you have this, and then you see that little bit right there. This is a shadow of it. And it gives it a nice little sense of depth, which I think is really nice. So that's cool. I dig that. I'm all for it. It's just one-sided there. Rounded edges, by the way, too, which is super nice if it'll focus. There we go. So as you can see, rounded edges here, and that's where the cut end right there. It's very smooth as well, which is really nice. So you're not gonna like get some weird splinters or anything like that. So yeah, overall, quite happy with that. And again, the quality actually seems pretty good, even folded up. There's not really a lot of splaying or kind of oddity around that. I didn't see anything warped. Quite happy with that, truly. They have upped their game in that regard. They were making some great minis, but they were kind of relying on another studio for anything else. Okay, so we got a whole bunch of cards here. Got some plain dice. I don't like the plain dice. It doesn't cost that much to make a special die. And one little floaty bit. I'm gonna look at the die. I will say that they are more hard-edged. They're not super rounded, so I like that. I prefer that a little bit more. You get a less roll, but that means less rolling off the table, which is appreciated. And it actually is a little bit more truly random, which is nice too. So we got a whole bunch of cards. I think there is some stuff here, like a rule book going on. I think that's all that's in here are the rule books and stuff. So let's take a look at that too. At the very bottom, that's kind of interesting. Limited model. Oh my gosh. Super cool. He's fighting with his cat. That's awesome. Visit your local gaming store. He won't have it. That makes me sad. That looks cool. Yeah, that looks awesome. I dig it. Oh, look at that. Is that a stand for it? Is that what it is? Create your very own Battleground and complete with the most iconic duo in Eternia. We're introducing limited models available to win and organize plays at your local gaming stores only. Get ready to compete for the first grand prize, He-Man with Battle Cat miniature. That's super cool. That's neat. I'm going to put them on top there. Very cool. All right, well, that's good support. I'm glad they're supporting their game like that. Okay, so we got a Battleground book, got a miniature assembly book, and we have a rule book. Oh man, that's some great art. And then we got some cards. Let's actually look at the cards first. And for once, I'm actually gonna do the. I'm gonna do the the rulebook last. Alright, so is that this is the villains. We're going to take a look at both of them. Like, I only want to get, I think, one of these. I think we need to look at both. And probably just one of these as well. I think we need to look at both. Okay. Open her all up. We'll say that already looks a little curved to me, but this is wrapped very tightly as well. And I always wonder how much that affects it. The back style looks like the game, the Fields of Eternia game, at least design-wise, which I'm glad they're kind of staying a little consistent there. And it makes sense because the sculpts aren't really changing as far as I know. Okay, there's the heroes. I know I cut you somewhere. I have to cut you again. Oh, probably right there. Now it's like super cut there. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right. And perfect. There's the bad guys. Nobody wants to play as them. And whatever the heck this is. I'm assuming some kind of like tactic cards. I see fate and stuff like that here. Rulebook will hopefully tell me. Right? Okay. All right. Okay. Ah, perfect. Okay, got it out. Okay, let's take a look at the cards here. It's interesting that it's only the head. That's a very interesting decision. I mean, it works. It's kind of weird, though, right? That's kind of odd. I would have almost kind of preferred to have the whole body there. I wonder why they did that. And it's very 3D. Like, it doesn't match this kind of art at all. It does match this kind of art, though, so I'm okay with that. I have the power, superhuman reflex. I got all the symbols here and stuff like that. And then, okay, cool. And then on the back here, they actually have the different characters, what their basic equipment is, and then I don't know what the symbols on the top right or bottom right are, but you can kind of see them a little bit there. That's cool. I think that's probably a faction. I bet that's what that is. And afterwards, you have some special cards. Your Cosmic Storm. Of course, means I love the art here. That's great. Fireball, Magic Blast. Very cartoony, which I really appreciate. I love that it looks like that. But again, now it doesn't really match the heads so much, I feel. Sword of Power, Razor Claws, Arm Cannon, Flamethrower, Laser Rifle, Photon Neutralizer. Love it. That's great. Okay, and then for the villains, just to make sure we confirm who they are. A Skeletor, Evelyn, Merman, Triclops, and Trapjaw. Everybody's favorite pink guy. Alright, and it looks like almost the same exact starting cards. Yeah, looks like it is actually. Kind of interesting. Okay, put that there. Got some fate cards here. Looks like they're all this. I have no idea how these work. What I will say is the symbology isn't a huge amount, but it is there. And the text isn't a whole lot either, which is kind of nice. I'm glad there's not a whole lot of text. Okay, and then items. We've got Battle Armor 1, which means I'm assuming there's a 2. A Battle Harness. Items, yep. Helm, Magic Cloak, Shield of Ka, a Jetpack, Magic Feather, Magic Potion, Grayskull Ring, Sun Scarab. Very cool. Okay, well, that's pretty much all the cards. Like I said, I'm assuming these are pretty much the same, just repeated there. So let's take a look at the miniature manual and see what that looks like. Actually, not too bad. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. Some of these I think have quite a few steps, more than I would think, perhaps. Like his chest is made of like 3. I guess it's his whole body. Then his arm. Oh yeah. So some of this is like put his head on, put the other arm on, put one leg on, put the other leg on, put the knee pad on the leg on, and then he's done. And it's like, well, that's a lot of steps for I think just a little thing. That doesn't seem too complex at all, to be honest. And then even how to assemble this. Oh, that's a base for like a big one like that. Interesting. Okay. Oh yeah, right there. So you see you can kind of go up on the top. That's cool. I dig that. I'm glad they have that. Very nice. Glad they thought of that. I totally did too. Battleground book. I have no idea what this is. I'm assuming there's like scenarios for it. Oh yeah, look at this. A standard setup. And here's kind of how you can put the terrain. Oh, I love it. It's kind of like Warhammer. And then, oh, you can actually do a roster list here. Total cost. Other items and cost of the items cost as well. So you can kind of, I love that. Ooh, this might be nice if there's some actual army building around here, like buffing everybody with a whole bunch of armor and stuff, and what that would look like, as opposed to a whole bunch of guys that don't really have anything. Okay, so then the rulebook, version 1.0. Take a look at the back here. The actual outside is different, so I appreciate that. Index. Look at that. Look at that. Multiple pages in alphabetical order. Love it. That's great. And even have these nice big headers there. Super glad to see this. That's awesome. Really dig that. And then the table of contents here, which is different. Those are just the headers, right? Okay, so they got the typical component list of pictures and names and numbers. So that's great to see. I actually really appreciate that. Very nice to go back to that. Basic concept. Look, okay, again, this is great. So they're starting with basic concepts. Like, what's the basic thing we're doing here, right? I don't see necessarily a golden rule here, rule hierarchy, how to win, right? Like, there might be, instead of starting with basic concepts, start with like here's how we would describe the game. But otherwise, pretty good. First game setup. I don't know why the first game versus non-first game. Maybe because then you can just put stuff wherever. This is showing where all the things are. And I imagine this matters too, what symbols in there. But I would have to learn that. And now playing the game, preparation phase, activation phase. But still not like, how do you win? It's not that I've seen, but I'm just glancing through it. So call-out boxes are definitely there. Big old headers. Then we have some like subheaders. Right, we have bold and italic where needed, italic for examples. We have different listing items and stuff like that with bullet points and whatnot. Symbols there as well. Okay, character actions. Okay, attack, that should be a big, nice section. Range attack, it totally is. Extra effects. Overwatch. Additional rules. Skills. The skills are under additional rules. Oh, look, so that's where they got that from. Movement effect. Massive models. Very cool. What are the massive models? What is that? What is that? I don't know what that is. Oh, that looks like the saber cat almost. Okay, yeah, that seems decent, actually. Nice and firm. The staples looked good. I didn't see anything that stood out that way. All right, that is Masters of the Universe Battleground. Hey guys, I'm here from the future a little bit. I've now built everything. I've tabled it. I want to tell you a little bit about building the miniatures and using the miniatures. So first of all, when it comes to using them, these walls look really great. However, you do have to clip the bottom part of them, and you want to make sure to actually, with like a razor blade or something, really trim those flush, because otherwise they can get a little wobbly if you leave the little bits of clip there, even with hobby clippers. And they can actually scratch the game board. So make sure that's nice and clean. When it comes to building them, they all build actually very easily. Here, I'll show you an example. This lighter color still doesn't show up as well, of course, right? That's just kind of a given, but they still look fantastic. They're very good quality. I'm sure they'll paint up very, very well. I'll show you one more, and then I'll talk about 2 issues I had and how I solved them. So there's the other one there. Okay, so one issue I had, this is the only mistake I made actually, was on her. I put her, and I used miniature glue, so they're pretty permanent. I put the staff on the side. It's supposed to go underneath. It was really hard to see that in the little assembly picture they had. I went and saw a picture of their miniature then and saw how it was supposed to go. Just reference their miniatures. You'll know exactly how to put it together anyway, because her wrist could go kind of anyway. The other bit was I had him actually break off his base. It's because when I was storing it, I had everything piled in here. Since then, what I've done is put all the walls underneath one of these. Been totally fine ever since. So you put them in there, separate them like that, they're great to go. All right, let's go ahead and go to the summary now. And welcome to my closing thoughts on this. What can I say? I'm really impressed. Anytime I get my hands on some Archon Studio stuff, they just do a really good job of it. They're now doing all of their like production of the like cards and cardboard and stuff like that with E-Star, which is really cool. Again, I'm unsure about this one though. I know Wolfenstein they did E-Star, but this one had the whole made in Poland thing, and I know there's regulations with how much of it needs to be made or whatever to get stickers like that. So I'm not sure. So maybe they can pipe in on that, or one of you guys can. If you know, let me know. This was kind of hit or miss, but it's odd. So I'm going to start with a really big positive, though. I love the facing things here, right? I kind of showed you guys the little arrow here, right? With the little band to show kind of which way each thing is facing. That's an easy one to see. I really like that because at the end of the day, these miniatures are game components and they need to work for the game. I mentioned this slightly in my Oathsworn review back when I played the prototype there, because they have the hex-based movement, but then they have round bases and it was kind of odd. Like, it works, but it could be made as a better game component if it had a hex base that matched, right? And so you kind of have to balance sometimes that a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, these are game components. They need to work really, really well for the game, and then that's good. Now, they actually had a facing thing too. They had a little triangle thing there, right? But either way, that's kind of the point, is while miniatures look great, while I want them to look great, and they're super fancy and super cool, they're a game component, and if they make the game more playable, easier, then that is wonderful and great, and I fully support that. Now, these minis are fantastic. You guys know this, right? I mean, they make these great hips minis that are super high quality. These are better than most of the games. I say most because Oathsworn is out there and they did hips as well. Most of the games out there. It's definitely the trend line, I think, going forward, is just keep upping the quality of those game components. And I think that's where Kickstarter's kind of heading anyway, where we need less bloat and more quality. So I think overall, everybody wins from that. But I know my shelves do. Archon's already got it, though. These minis are fantastic and made in the EU, so that's really helpful, too. But then you pair them with these dice. I hate Yahtzee dice. It costs almost nothing. And I joke when I say almost nothing, but very, very little to make custom dice. You have one steel mold that's flat, and it has all the dice there or whatever, right? And you put them there and it has every facing you could need, and it's super easy to make. It's not super complex, not a lot of tooling involved or anything like that. And then you can even often reuse them or just change, like if they're all pips, but one special one even, right? That's one facing you have to do custom each time. And then you can put any color plastic you want in there, and then you just have to make sure that you can paint it right. It's not actually that much, and it's really nice feeling to have nice premium thematic dice. Tiny little white ones, not happy with that. I like that they're hard edged. I like those more than the like Chiswick style dice. They're like really curved. But at the end of the day, they're plain freaking dice. The art was also kind of interesting because like this is nice, right? Because I like the art there, and I think that's a pretty good ratio between art and non-art. But then you have stuff like this, which is just like some of the most boring stuff I've seen. So, you know, it's kind of interesting. And then the items, almost dropped it, I think are nice and colorful, but again, kind of small. I would have liked to see the art, I think, a little bit more prominent, right? When you get the people, you only get their heads, stuff like that. That would have been kind of nice, but everything else is super premium. Even the box is okay. The board I was really impressed with. So again, kind of a mixed thing here, but what I love is the fact that they're able to produce something like this for people who want even more. So now we have the kind of area control style kind of game, but then also a skirmish with that. And I think that's awesome. So you EU people are super lucky to be able to have multiple options of gameplay here. I'm excited to try my hand at it. I love skirmish games, so we'll see if I like this or not. I'll be sure to let you guys know if you need to check this out or not. But if nothing else, you get a whole bunch of really good looking minis. And yeah, that's super awesome in and of itself. And it's He-Man, heck yeah. That's it. That's all I had, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys again really soon. Bye, guys.